Okay, we are in the page Kuf Samaches. Started saying that the difference in tzaddikim was true. Tzaddikim started saying basically that the avish alman mitam vadas that everybody has within them is not really a change. Not he started saying ein zichitschachus when actually kids. And he started saying page Kuf Samaches. Not his hatches. The average amount of time the nefesh case has it built in. No, was there has to be something to trigger it. So by the tzaddikim, so his bonus in his bonus in likus shlomal me'elamis. The likus shlomal establishes the elamis, and by the beinanim it's to his bonus in the richut. The point is it's not his hatches. That's Shom Escheles he, which 5 lines from the top of the page. I know there's an idea we still want to discuss, but let's push it. We'll do it when we finish the Maimon. The Samachov. Okay, we'll do it when we finish the Maimon. But Gam the Ava Zu Yesh B'Vid Nefesh Hakis Tam Tuf Tam V'Tainig Bakir L'Likush. There's Sibas Ava. So the two issues. Number one, that Ava Shema Mitam Vadas, which is Misar to the Richuk or by Beinanim or to his Beinus, but Tzaddikim is not his chach. It's not something new. The Nefesh Elokis has within it not only Ava Shel Pitam Vadas, Ava Shema Mitam Vadas. Gam, another point, the Ava Zu Yesh B'Nefesh Elokis Tuf Tam V'Tainig Bakir L'Likush. There's Sibas Ava. That Ava, it's stuck above Seichel, but there's a tuf tam v'tainig, there's a geschmack, there's a joy, there's a delight, what we call. It's something that helps it. The kamosh v'avay shal pitam v'das, just like in the regular avay shal pitam v'das, avay mishmatikir v'sakim loy toif. The avay is a result of the recognition that being close to the Eibush makes him feel good. Kamoy can ava the ava even if they're himself, she's like tiny of a nafsha ben so bo. So the ava shlamar v'tam is also something that gives them pleasure, that gives them geschmack, that gives them delight. Even when the second reason that brings the ava, which is the richuk, the recognition of his distance, so the richuk is really the nefesh haba'amis causes the richuk. Nefesh Elokis itself is not in a state of richuk. B'meilei הנפש Elokis יש לה תענוג אלוקי בנפש, על כן גם בישראל שמצד הריחוק יש בזה התענוג של הכיר בנפש Elokis. Even if the trigger for this inspiration is the richuk, but actual ava is in the nefesh Elokis, which is part of its nature. It's the richuk, it's the kir of nefesh Elokis. זהו המיימר חד ותקיר בדיבוי וסיטו דו, בחיר תקיר מדיבוי וסיטו דו. The famous expression in Zohar that's quoted in Tanya, that you have both the joy, the chedva, and b'chir, the crying, the sadness. Which means at the same time that he has this feeling of distance, that he feels uncomfortable, that is expressed in the crying on one side. At the same time, he also has the good feeling, the feeling, the geschmack, and the joy. He has the chedva, the happiness. Since this Ava Shel Tam Vadas is causes him oine, causes him delight. So that says that he really didn't reach the highest madrega l'mayla atzmos. It's only giluyim, even if it's giluyim, which is a higher level in giluyim. Ava Shel Tam Vadas, but it's still giluyim. V'gam, another point, Helene is back to the Gamma. his mitzias, his ego, his feeling of its independent feeling is still not totally known, still not bottled. Ein Shaliyat of his Tzio Adam. It's still in this, it feels that he's a being, it's Tzio Adam. Al Kain Eine Megivas of Knesatzis. The male, even this Avodah, this Avodah, which is a man with Vadas, doesn't really elevate him, it doesn't really make him reach the Atzis. But then there's another higher level. He started saying it in the Bible page of Samazayim. The whole there was one line, 6 lines from the bottom. It said, "Va'amit Yisrael, kashanev shabam is atzvim Yisrael v'dekavarat." So that's what he's explaining all along. Kozman is the nefshali keys for the nefshali keys to reach the highest level of tainuk. It's not the ultimate beetle, because that's part of its being. That's part of its nature. But the Nefesh HaBa'am, when it reaches a place, the Nefesh HaBa'am feels uncomfortable, the distance from Likus. Nefesh HaBa'am is einer Shach Likus, einer Shach Talmetain Likus. Nefesh HaBa'am's nature doesn't have the connection to Likus. Oh, the delight, the geschmack, the good feeling from Likus. The only thing that triggers him is the fact that he feels uncomfortable. It's not good. He feels uncomfortable that he doesn't follow the Eibishter wants. How does he reach that understanding? Because Nefesh HaBa'am affects Nefesh HaLikis to teach. Nefesh HaLikis affects Nefesh HaBa'am it teaches Nefesh HaBa'am that it's distant. So what happens to the Nefesh HaBa'am is to this inspiration. So this nifsat kol tzoros legama. He loses his entire shape. V'nishba legama mikol v'chol. It's totally broken. So that is a level of beetle that the Nefesh HaBa'am cannot achieve on its own, because it's part of its nature. Not only that, to that fact that the Nefesh HaBa'am loses his ego altogether, can make an appointment actually key. So the Nefesh HaBa'am is in turn affects Nefesh HaLikis shemizbat mikol atzmusay v'seros shalot shalorak min harichut. So the male Nefesh HaLikis is now is inspired not because it feels close, not because there's the Av. It's only the Richut. Ki shechech legamra tainuk sheberich bakiru. He forgets. He loses that tainuk shebakiru.
This is like what we once learned.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, he talks about it in the language of Nefesh HaLikis, Nefesh HaBa'am, but I mean, it's all of the things
that. The 9 days, I think we learned the 3 levels of the whatever.
Yeah, it's connected. Yeah. So what does he have? The only feeling he has, he doesn't have the geschmack, he doesn't have something that gives him joy and delight. He only has the negative feeling. Feels very uncomfortable because he feels distant from the Eibishter. Brings an example. Tshuva amitis, the person reaches the ultimate true feeling of tshuva. Kasha inen negelipnis negodas nafshay. Inen touches in the essence of his soul. Lo yesh behak ergeshachik lavat. The only feeling he has is the distant. Mishum zevnes tekefarat, and that gives them the ultimate, the strongest yearning to connect. Because is chachas nafshalikis. That type of odds is a schachas, something new the Nefesh HaLikis never experienced it, because Nefesh HaLikis is always in a state. The connection to the Eibishter is always there, so B'meili can never reach this ischachas. Only to the Nefesh HaBa'am does the Nefesh HaLikis reach it. B'meili this ischachas, but zeh magiach nespnius Pnis Atzin Sof. Kiloyodom. But it reaches at the level of Atzin, which is Kiloyodom, Ein Pnis Sof. Shkama Rotzen Bo Men Pnis Dil Canal. Like we explained earlier, remember we spoke about the Iris and the Neshama, we spoke about 2 levels. There is the fact that the Neshama comes down into the body, that's a diluk, but then the Rotzen itself, the fact that there's a Rotzen, it should be in the Neshama, the fact that there's a Rotzen, that itself is diluk, because unlike in the human experience, the Rotzen is a result of a chison, of lacking something. L'mayla Rotzen is a pure choice, because he doesn't lack anything. The Isavas Rotzen is b'derech diluk. So this is the madrege he reaches to this avoid of the bittul nefesh habahamis. In a sense, so shekama Rotzen, that madrege of Finso, which is above Rotzen. Even Rotzen is diluk. Kamoy, and so it brings an example. In the madrege of Rotzen, there's a possibility of nichumit, of regret. You want something, then you regret, then you want it. Because the pasuk says, "Gam netzach Yisrael lo yishaka v'lo yinochem ki lo odam lo yinochem." The lo odam is above linochem, above regret, change his mind. So he says, "Rotz shayach mishkosu v'amit yisinik lo odam lo yinochem." But it's after the sof shaman for the. So again, how do we reach it? Like you just said, the darkness self to light. The zek shnav shabam is atzme. Misayer. They said dafka nasa li b'nef shalikis v'atzme self ma'am shemisham okayach harida shalom kanal b'ini v'ipam v'apam b'teich enough. Okay, so in order to reach that madrege, the ultimate madrege of Ripach v'Av Nishmas Chaim, it's not enough. So it's not enough the Nefesh Halikis does avoid al pitam badas. It's not even enough shalom ma'ila mitam badas. What needs to be Nefesh Halikis has to be mevad the Nefesh Habahamis, and the Nefesh Habahamis has to reach that level of Rotzeh, which is a result of total bittul, and spoil the bittul the Nefesh Halikis. The Nefesh Halikis reaches a madrege of atzmas shalamayla mikol agbal. That's step 1. He started saying in page kuf samach zayin. He said, saying that in the middle of the page, Aliyah Shadei the base in Yonah. So the Aliyah and the Shabbat, the readers. So the first one he just described, that's the reaching to transforming Nefesh Habahamis. In Yonah base, who the second way Shanas Aliyah Tero Mitzvahs Begashmis. That the Aliyah is a result of being a kind of Tero Mitzvahs Begashmis in the physical world, in the material world. Why? Because it starts with the Remes. The Remes says, "Vaniki boish ranon." It's a pasuk in Tehillim, right? Vaniki boish ranon. I'm like a young cedar tree. What does it mean? He says, "Boish or eres." Regular boish is eres. Cedar tree is a very tall, tzaddik ke'eres balvan in Izge. It's a very tall and strong tree. That's a regular. But Ranon, when it's a young one, when it's still in the beginning of its growth, it has a certain quality. Shechodim lakuf oisel lemata, ukashenoisnim olav dovo magbi oisel lemayl. I mean, so it's not. This is a medrash that. It's a medrash that's brought in Chassidus. It's a famous medrash. Let me look it up now.
It's in Isaiah. Vaniki boish ranon is in Isaiah.
Okay. But we say it in davening somewhere, no?
I don't remember such thing.
No? Let's see. Let's see what Rashi says. So Rashi says, the Medrash says, okay, 1 second. Let's see what it says. The Medrash. Second. I am the you back out in a different place. 1 second. Okay, this is the Medrash. Adam shelo yochel la'alas al ilan. A person cannot reach, it's a tree is too tall. He can't climb on the tree. But koifef es hanofof va'oiches bam va'oile. You pull down his branches and jump on them, and then that picks you up. So the Boish Rana is a remez on the Indian of Yeridat Tzarech Aliyah. Chassidus brings it in a few places, but I don't remember. Okay, right now I can't find the Medrash. Okay, let's go back to the simple thing. But the way he says, Kabosh Ranon, Shechonim Lokas al Matok Shenois and Lot Dava Magbias al Lamayla. Basically, it means that there's a Yeridat Tzarech Aliyah. Kamoikan Anik Kabosh Ranon, the Asos in Sof Kaif Kim Mosek Kaviyochu. So, like I said, the Mefarshim say Kaif means he pull down the branch to be able to climb on it. But it says the kaifef, this pulling down, the kaifef, the bending it downwards, is slabish with volume at achtain mitzvahs meises. Okay, I don't know what is this medrash. That the Rosh Anon is a remez and the idea of mislabish with volume tachtain gashmi. Just like we said in the bush, you bend the bush down, and then you get on the branch. The branch picks you up all the way to the top. So to the kimitzis begashmias misal adam ba'aliyah shleibad cloud. So that's one mashal. There's another mashal. V'oisa nefesh adonit tzur b'tzroy achayim. The lashon pasuk is b'tzroy achayim. So is Ketzer Evan b'Margema, which is like a what is a sling? What is the word sling? Shali elamal so it says something very bekitzer. So there was one longer arichas. They described that the Yeridat Tzarech Aliyah is because the nefesh ba'amis, the slapshus nefesh ba'amis elevates the nefesh alikis to such a high level, which is above its source. And another point, the avodah begashmius, the Yerida begashmius may also the avodah mitzvahs gashmius elevates the Eden to a very high level. To also with the Russian aliyah shlev cloud. So now he goes back all the way to the beginning of the not the mamash, the beginning in the page Kuf Samazan. He asked the question: Yes, a very serious question. Since we explained earlier in the Maimon, the Yeridus and the Shama Guf itself by Ipa Bab's Chaim, and Avraham Avinu also had the Yeridus and the Shama. So the you should also be able to reach the Vayipach Ba'apa, because the Avram's Neshama also Yerid. See, to answer that, depending on the way the Yerida works, the way Megala is not just the Yerida itself. It's through the Pure Nefesh Habamis and to the Gashmi. Then it goes back about Cain, in Cain, by Avram Shaloylam System Tzadaguf. Number one, the Avram's Guf and Nefesh Habamis did not conceal. He had a higher level of Guf. Shukot Sefer Shel Beinonim, like it says in Tanya, the limbs of their body were holy and separate from any so we can't say about Avram that his nefesh alikis transformed his nefesh habamis or the goof because his goof and nefesh habamis are not such a low level. Yeshloima shoyu neshama shel lamata רק בשלב של גלקוס למטה ולא יהיה בהם כל כך נסתפס בחומריס. So the nefesh alikis of Avram Avinu and the Orbis Bechlal, its function was not to transform the group in nefesh habamis. The function was just to bring godliness into this world, to shine, not to transform. So interestingly brings a dogma for what it says in Kabbalah about the general way the entire Shtalshel was created. The general Gila in the Shtalshelos, the way it worked was like this. It says in Chassidus Kabbalah that the way there's Ein Sof, that Ein Sof, there are two madrigas in the Ein Sof. There's Gilui Galis Asmusa, just express himself without taking account of the Makabelis, Galis Asmusa, and then there's Hakar, the lower level is the Gilui Loyer Elements. The Gilui whose function is to affect the elements. That's two madrigas in the Ein Sof. Sometimes this two madrigas the cloud that this is two madrigas and serve Mamala kol almin is loyal elements. The function of Mamala is to fill the elements and affect them the direct way that the elements are catered for. Mashen can save is that he surrounds them. His function is just a galis atzmusim, not loyal elements. So he says it's similar to the fact that we see that in the Klolos Ishtashelos, Kamoik and Lamato, or similar to that global, so to speak, flow of the early keys in a similar vein happen in the world Gufa. The first was the Gila of does Neshamas, whose function is only legalis lekus lamat. Just to show guidance that the Chanoich and the Orvis, that was their point. Only late in the later stage was the Amshach of Neshamas, I guess Nitzias Mitzrayim. I don't know at what stage. It doesn't say where. But I guess it's as Mitzrayim. Then the neshamas, well, the type of neshamas functions let's say hatikun, to fix, to repair.
What's the point of the galus at Smusim? What's the point?
Okay, that's a general question. Why do we have the galus at Smusim? So sometimes it says that the Eresh Galus Atzmus's point is also an ultimate goal is also a chana to the Eresh Galus Elements. That sometimes that's what says of Sidus that the Eresh Galus Atzmus is also for the ultimate purpose of the Eresh Elements, but the marshal, let's say the marshal can give a marshal machshava and dibur. Machshava means it's the way he himself is oil himself memala kol machalo. He's in a full expression. He's expressing himself, not to. He doesn't take the makabel in account. He's just being himself. So he's in the full glory. That's the galus atzmus, not to affect someone outside.
That's achon.
Something that's achona. Yeah, but that's the easiest way to understand it. It sounds like it's also a natural thing that any is being who himself. V'meli, he's also expressing himself, not because he wants to reach someone. He wants to.
Being himself is already connected to the elements. Because being himself, the Milo Machshava, is the real being himself. If it's Machshava, it's already preparing being.
Fine. Okay. Yeah, that's true too. Okay. So, like I said, the easiest way to understand it is, but it says that's also part of the process. In order to reach Gila Olam is you have to first have the stage of Galas Atzmus. But there's more to that. Okay, I'll try to find the source of that too. Okay. Going back to Avraham Avinu, mitzvahs gashmis loyam shleimit stav. It says two things. Number one, but they always didn't have that mile of bir nefesh abamis because the bechal were not their nefesh abamis is not in the lower level. Even the goof was not in the lower level. Also, but they're lacking that mile. The second thing, mitzvahs gashmis loyam shleimit stav bazin. Also, they didn't have mitzvahs gashmis. They didn't have these two vehicles to reach the mile min shosham koil. Well, so that's why. What level did they reach? To the avoida only shem shadek, Moshe Ve'er alav nitzag Yaakov bekel shadek shmi avay loyne datele. The shem shadek. What does shadek mean? Number one, shama lalamedai. We learned, there was a mimer we learned in Aleph, the three Pirushim and Shadek. But here is Bekitza, just brings Bekitza to the point that there is Sh'omar Le'lomai Dai, which means that the one Dai means enough, limit, that's the limitation, that's the Mamala, Shaykh Le'lomis, Hashem Shadek Sheba'avais, Shadai B'lekos Al-Chalberi. That's another Pirush of Chazal. What does Shadai mean? Shadai b'lekus al-chaber. He's so unlimited that he can die b'lekus al-chaber. His power can reach anywhere, which is the opposite, which is like l'mayla me'agbol. See, that's the level that the others reach. The yois gamken nisim mishom. So b'meile the same Shaddai that the others reach, but the Shaddai is not just the Shaddai which is I'm sorry, which is the limit, the nature. The nature, the laws of nature. That's Teva. The means there's nest, but still a nest. But all this is even the nest is a nest amalubash b'teva, a nest that's included in within nature. That to the nature express something that is above nature. That's okay. So that explains why jumps already to the matters that he said earlier that reach or mitzvah shasa always reich is so you will on the shaman talk shmechas. Why is it reich is? Which reich means how or ba'alma, because like I said they couldn't reach the mile me shach leils. I will on the shaman talk shmechas. That was shmeikim we are avoided compared to oil, not to fragrance. Why? Because oil is something that you pour from one cup into another, which means it's something tangible. So he says that there's a remes. It brings in a remes in that the whole thing of shemen. Shemen of Knes Chachma, it's known in Kabbalah and Chassidus that shemen is Marav, and Chachma is based on the Gemara. It was the Gemara. I don't remember. The Gemara is that Koya Alpha L'Shemen says Isha. There's a remes in Gemara that shemen is connected to Chachma. Va'ainu, which Chachma did it? P'chinas Chachma and Elama, because Chachma is Stimor. Which shemen, which level in Chachma do we reach to our Avodah is not Stam Chachma, it's Chachma Stimor. Which is cause of shemen Mishchas Kodesh. The expression in Parshat Yissi says the shemen is Mishchas Kodesh, the type of shemen who is shemen Shemeshech is HaKodesh. Interesting. Interesting remes, that's not the simple meaning of the word Mishchas Kodesh. Shemen Mishchas Kodesh means that he used the shemen to create. Actually, maybe it's connected. Shemeshech is HaKodesh. Shemen is above the Kodesh. It's Meshech is HaKodesh. Kodesh is Chachma. That's what it says in Kabbalah. And shemen is Meshech is HaKodesh. Shemen anoints, so to speak, the Chachma. So Mele said the shemen here is maram as a chachmas timor. V'zer shamitzvah is aim shemen turak with chachmas timor. That's why on the shemen our mitzvahs are connected, called shemen because the mitzvahs is chachmas timor. And there's another remes to that, which occurs to v'zer shanavach mitzvah shekiddushana b'mitzvah. We say that to mitzvahs we became kodesh. What is kodesh? We become kodesh. What is there's a person. There's a few psukim that tell us that we have kedusha. Number one says Kam Kodeshak. Number two it says it's Kadesh. And number three it says Kadeshim Til. So we have kedusha. How do we get the kedusha? The kedusha is a Shem is not great. How can it kadash the kedusha that we have is a result of the Shem and Mishas Kodesh of the mitzvahs. So that's the power. We got Matan Torah to get the kedusha of Chachmas Timor. So that's it's interesting. I chose punkt in this here to explain the remes and the lashon Shem and Torah Shmech. I'll compare him. So, okay, you got, but in the middle of the discussion, the difference between the Ovis and us. Okay, going back to the Ovis. Because the Ovis didn't reach the Mila Mishtashalos, the Mila Mishasham Kairam, that's why Machlokam Avadosim call Echad of Shasham Kairam. Each of the Ovis is a Voida was concentrating on his mode of Voida based on its own Shasham. Avom she'ashash v'nes ha'chesed, because his sheirish moker was the midas ha'chesed that silus. So what was he occupied all the time with achnas ha'sach b'gmach, which is chesed. Which cause of Pardes, the famous Pardes, Shem Sefer Boyo, Amo midas ha'chesed, Nekadosh Baruch Hu, Kol Yimei, Yos Avom Baos, Tzachti Ani Lasas Olachta, She'avom Eimed Misham B'Mkeim. That Midas Chesed told the Eibashter, I don't need to do the job because Avram does my job. It means this entire Avodah was the manifestation of the Chesed Shalamayel, because that was the source, but not, which means only Chesed, not other things. Yitzchak Oyavidos Bechafiras Be'er Matal Mayim Nishoshei Midas Hagvur, because Yitzchak's Avodah, Yitzchak's source Madriga is Madriga Lamayla, the source. Sheirish Moker was no Midas Hagvur, so his Avodah was concentrating on Chafiras Be'eris, which, like Chassidus explains, represent the end of Gvur, because it's like Allah Milmatal. And then Yaakov says on 3 words, Yaakov b'maklis b'nismas teferes, because in Zohar it's explained that the maklis that Yaakov used over there by Lavan to have the to have the sheep should have the certain colors, right? That's a simple shot in the Psukim Pashas Vayetze. The Zohar explains this was a ruchnis de operation. It's all maklis situation. And it's connected somehow to Midas Atiferes. It doesn't explain how. But I know, a component we see here that each of the others reached, his avodah was limited to his type of to his source. He was not involved in other types of avodah. It was only involved in that particular type of avodah that connected to his source. Because like we said, their avodah were able to reach only to their source. So that's their source is that particular midah. They were doing the avodah to that midah. But that's one of the other chidushim Matan Torah. The fact that we got in Torah everybody, each of us got all Torah mitzvahs. Shama ve'il shem chesed gvul shama mikim mitzvahs. Shama ve'il said that the Alter Rebbe explains the Akdam of Tanya. It says in a lot of places, but to us this is like the first source in Chassidus. Shama and Il chesed gvul. The Alter Rebbe explains the beginning of in the Akdam of Tanya. Akdam of Samalak. That Shama is gvul and Il is chesed. So the according to even by the others, so Shama would be busy all the time only with the avodah. In other words, that type of avodah, and he wouldn't have the other mitzvahs. In Elul, the opposite. The Poel we see Shama became a mitzvahs. Shama also has to be the mitzvahs of Chesed and the Elul also the mitzvahs of Gvul, all equal. Why? Mipnei she'en ze avodah fisher Shama Karniva, but the avodah that's expected from us after Matan Torah is not just to reach the source of our own Shama. כי אם מה שנית למעלה בשביל שמעת הנבואים, אז אפשר לעשות עצמס, אבל כן, רק עכשיו הם בדו. Okay, so we answered, so basically he brought in another point to explain the difference, again, so we already have three differences between the Ovis and us. Number one, their goof was not, did not reach that low, that's why there was no biur enough Shabbams. Number two, there was not key mitzvahs v'gashmis. The Eibusher did not command them to do mitzvahs v'gashmis, so they couldn't reach the gashmis. And they said that caused also that each one of them was concentrating on his mode of avodas Hashem. Avram Chesed, Yitzchak Gvul. Hashem and Matan Torah, we have after Matan Torah, all these things change. So that explains the medrash mitzvah shoyes lefanecha oves reichasoy aval on Hashem and Torah shmech. Correct? But now he says there's another question. But we have to understand one more point. Another chazal. Says in Gemara Brachos, talks about the mitzvah of Beirim and Psamim, but Mevachim al Reach b'Motzei Shabbos. Why? Because the neshama is seira. So we say Reach shaneshama. That's the lashon. Reach davar shaneshama nenes minute. The concept of Reach represents a certain delight and pleasure and geschmack that's spiritual, not material. Davar shaneshama nenes minute. What does it mean in different terms? Shemagia b'neshama shemanas after the guf. Means that the reich really touches a high level of neshama. Neshama shemanas beguf. L'chein reich meishav es hanefesh. That is why when a person faints, to give him something to smell to wake him up. Meishav es hanefesh. Zem shemagia l'mayla machayis mislabet. Because it reaches in the neshama to that level which is above the chayes mislabish, above the life force of the neshama which is mislabish beguf. Is there chayes nistalin? Because that chayes when the person faints is nistalin. It escaped, left. So to the reach touches that's a nefesh to get new chayes. Hadugim is a lamaylo. And what is the nimshal of the Indian of Reach? If that's the way it is in Gashmitz, in our experience, what is the nimshal lamaylo? So Reach represents the Madriga for the lamaylo mishtash. Shekam a guf in kinas line, warum der wir in der Schmaß guf, der Heimel guf. That they bring, it brings the lashon from Pasach Eliyah. Kam a guf in kinas line, that the spheres have this gufim. Gufim means the kelim of the spheres. Warum der wir, and that flow of the air and stuff, you can Schmaß guf, you Heimel guf. So the kelim of the insaf, the kelim are like the guf. And the oil, the flow, that's going to show the Chaim Guf, which is up to the Mislavish of Kalim. So that's the oil Mislavish of Kalim. According to Guf, so we see in this context, and that discussion, it talks about Reach, turns out,
No. 1 second.
mental turn off the muted. So, Mandy, mute your. Okay, so he says that we see that Reach, since Reach is a mile, is in our own experience. Reach means something which is neshama shalamayim b'safshus v'guf. So similarly in the nimshul, when we talk about Reach l'mayla, so the Reach means the neshama shalamayim b'safshus. Or ma yischach mater. So going back to the same question. So it's interesting the way he describes it. Ma yischach mater. In other words, now the question is, why is mitzvahs? Before we spoke about a different reach and shemen. Shemen is something tangible that moves. Reach is only a or, right? So according to that, we explain the chiddush of Matan Torah with the or. But now the question is, we find that the word reach signifies something else. It also signifies touching the lamayla mishtashlut. We just said that the ovis did not reach that high. So a male in the Medrash says, it also means to teach us that the ovis reached a Madriga Shalmayla Mishtashus. How does that fit with what we just said? So what's the chiddush of Ha'aved? So Ha'inyanus, he goes into a discussion on that point. The VMS ovis ifrishu umshichu gam Madriga's voice of analysis. Those did reach very high levels. R'Dovid Olidort nefesh. The avodah of the office of Mesilas Nefesh, with father the nisyonis, especially all the nisyonis that they had. Avram Avinu, it says that Asar nisyonis, the other office, all else had nisyonis. And then nisyon Meshichem Megillah Chazak L'Ensof, that we learned in other Maimorim. Sidus explains that the nisyon, the person is put to test, a special challenge that takes them higher. That's what the point of a challenge is. Take you outside of your comfort zone. Get the halamayla mishtashus. So the obvious experience is as nefesh and isyenis. B'meile imshich gelim v'tas mitzvah. Ika efesh she obvious imshich ha'ka or levat namshachas atzis. So now he splits it. It's another. He passes it in amshach from the mayla mishtashus. Go for the two. There are two stages. We can get a ha'or from Ma'anim Mishtashus, we can have the Amshachas Asmas itself. Okay, so that's another way to, another layer of explaining the mile of Matan Torah. The truth is, it was already Ma'umas what it said earlier, that Reach but earlier they spoke about more, so in the way I explained earlier Reach, the difference in Reach and Shemen was that Reach you get and the shemen means, like I said, shemen means chaskeidesh, chachma, shemen, chachma stima, which means the oil shel ma'ila, oil shel oil la'atzim. But said, now he says there's more than that. There's the difference. If they reached also the ma'ila mishtashim, but even there they only reached the ha'or, only a radiance from the madrega shel ma'ila mishtashim. We reached the essence. So he's going to go into a new way of explaining the difference. Even in the Maila Mishtashos, the Maila Mi Tamvadas, in that Gufa, there are two general flows. There's not flows, modes. One is called the Ha'ora. Itaka reach the highest level of inspiration from Mesilas Nefesh, Nisyanis, but it's still Ha'ora. But then there's Etzem, which means something tangible. Hamshachas ha'atzmus. So he goes into a new way of explaining. Amatzinu, what's the pshat? Amatzinu, Pchinas Etzem, he says, we find something even interesting when they get
But the
Hamshachas
bottom
ha'etzem.
line is that even though the Reach is Ha'oreh, but it's touching in a higher level.
Yes, yeah, that's a higher level, but it's only Reach. So is he going to explain how that works when they get to us? First, he's saying here that Matzinu, first, before he goes there, he's explaining a new point. What is he explaining? That Matzinu, Pchinas Etzem, Madrega Tachteinu, Gvay Yesem, Arosh Madrega Elyon. There's something called Hamshachas ha'etzem. That's an interesting way to explain it. The Hamshachas ha'etzem, im Madrega Tachteinu. If you have a low level, let's say there's a certain Madrega of Likus, and we get from the low Madrega, but if the etzem of the low Madrega is Nimshach, so there's a mile in it over the Gila of higher Madrega. So that's what's going to get into that discussion now. So you get, let's say, you get a piece of the actual thing, not just a whole. What's the marshal? In the Yitro, as he starts talking about Nevuah. In Yitro, the whole Nevuah min Netzer v'Oidatzilus. The whole Netzer v'Oidatzilus. The whole Nevuah is from Netzer v'Oid. Nevuah comes from Madrega of Netzer v'Oidatzilus. The shiur, Oyom, Ches Netzer v'Oid. Now the Chazal talk about the difference. Shiur in Cheskel, Kayodua, the difference that it says. Shiur ben Krach Shoros HaMelech, and Cheskel ben Kfar Shoros HaMelech. So the shiur is higher than the Cheskel. Shiur is Netzer v'Oid, and what's the Cheskel? Netzer v'Oid Yitzir. Kol zeh, Pchinas Netzer v'Oid Yitzir, כמו שנספר from Netzer v'Oid Yitzir. These two madregas in the Nevuah are in Netzer v'Oid. That's the losh in either the Netzer v'Oid of Atzilus. But by the shiur, the Tzilus was established in Bria. By Cheskel, it was established in a lower Madrega of Yitzir. Means it's a lower grade. When there was Moshe is even higher. Moshe is Seid Abba. Moshe reached the level of his Seid Abba. If Atzilus direct Atzilus, Seid Abba within his Seid is Netzer Yitzir. That's number one. Number two, it says even the way Moshe experienced the works of Yisod Abba, it was only in the state of Acharai. Moshe Kosu, like the Pasuk says, that Moshe only reached the level of the Gilui, the Gilui and the Nevuah, only in a state of like we see something from the back. It means you don't see the face. The face represents the front, these gallows, and it's also the essence, like just a human being. When you see his face, you see, who he is. When you see him from the back, you don't really get the person. And the nimshal means that even so we see in all these madrig, in all the Nevi'im, Cheskel, Yishai, and Moshe, they only reached a low grade, so to speak. Arimatzino said the famous question. Arimatzino shar biva Arizal isiga sagas na ma'ala. That's all right. That's a famous question that the Alter Rebbe deals with in Tanya, actually, in Igas HaKodesh. The Chayra, the Arizal, all the Mukobarim, the Rashbi, they were able to understand higher madrigas than the Nevuah of Moshe. So what's the difference? Okay. So we'll end with the question here. Continue tomorrow. Oh, yes.
Shkoyach.